Nice to meet you. Tracy, pleasure to meet you.
I went this home. This man.
Most of us who've been around for a while come to understand that adversity builds great strength, and tenacity brings great reward. And tonight I have the pleasure of introducing a young man that has clearly learned that lesson. Midshipman Jonathan Dennler knew the deep conviction that he belonged at the Naval Academy when he was very young, and he persisted, for he applied 3 times before he was accepted. And I don't know if that was his challenge or our problem that it took so long. Since here, he has thrived. He studied abroad in Japan. He served as a plebe summer regimental commander and as a 2nd class squad leader, hoping for service assignment to the Marine Corps ground. And in July 2016, while helping to lead a Boy Scout camping trip, Midshipman Dennler reacted with assertiveness and bravery and courage when lightning struck, killing 1 scout and an accompanying adult. He located the camp radio and attempted to make an emergency call to bring assistance to his campsite. When radio communications failed, he canoed over 1.5 miles at night in 60-mile-an-hour winds and lightning to evacuate 1 uninjured scout and return with aid from the Prairie Portage Ranger Station. He calmly conveyed the situation to the ranger, who, under the guidance of Midshipman Dennler, returned to the scene with needed medical supplies. Midshipman Dennler's actions earned him the Navy and Marine Corps Medal for heroism. And I think we'd all agree that this is the type of leader the world needs more of today and tomorrow. So allow me to introduce Midshipman Jonathan Dennler of the class of 2019.
Admiral Mullen, thank you, sir. Iwo Jima, the invasion beach, 1 year ago. Myself and a friend from VMI are standing in the water on the beach, about knee-high, turned around looking back at the island. Now, it's a little different than it used to be. It's a little greener now. And this is still something that is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, a challenge that we have to try. So looking back at the island, we take off running, we run up the beach. And we hit it as hard as we can. And the sand, the loose volcanic sand, it's actually okay to walk on, but the faster you try to run, the more you step, the more pressure you put behind your feet, the more you sink and the harder it gets. And so we're running, and we're going up the beach, and we hit a big sand dune. And we think we're just gonna go up this thing and it's gonna be over, and we run into the dune, we get there, and we just kind of go right into it, sink right in. And so we have to crawl our way up, and we get to the top, and we're out of breath, and we're not done. We've actually fallen behind our tour group now, so we have to run down the beach a little more. And we go down there, we're running still, and one of our friends, a classmate, a Japanese military classmate actually, turns around, puts his hand out for a high five, like he normally would, and we high five him back, like we normally would. We don't think much of it at the moment. Then later on, the significance dawns on us that not many Americans who've run up the beaches of Iwo Jima have been high-fived by the first Japanese person they saw. A lot has changed since the Second World War. I was fortunate enough and lucky enough to spend a semester last year abroad at the Japanese National Defense Academy. And up there, that's me and all my roommates. Me and those guys did pretty much everything together for about 4 months. These are opportunities we have here, and I was fortunate enough to have because of philanthropy at the Naval Academy and what it allows us to do. There are lessons you learn doing something like that that you can't learn anywhere else. A military leader today has to understand geopolitics, the people we work with, and the relationships that go into that. And at the core, there's something very real. There's a really tangible human relationship. And yeah, you can learn about it in a classroom, but you can't really feel it and you can't really know it. Stuff like this is how we actually learn. So there's another story I'd like to take a moment to tell you real quick. I was also fortunate enough to spend time on a foreign exchange cruise with the Japanese Navy. So I actually met a Japanese ship in London, and we sailed from London to Lithuania, and I was actually part of the Japanese military's first ever official visit to the country of Lithuania, which I never thought I'd be able to say. We left from Lithuania to Belgium, and us midshipmen left from Belgium. Now, I don't know, has anyone ever been to London? So, yeah, imagine being on a ship in the middle of the River Thames, such that they have to open up Tower Bridge for you to leave. And there we were, myself, a newly minted youngster. Herndon was less than 2 months ago at this point, and I'm standing on the bridge of a Japanese destroyer, a nation who a few decades before had been an enemy of ours, and there I am with Tower Bridge open ahead of us, and British people lined the streets on the side waving goodbye to us, because seeing a Japanese ship leave in the middle of the river is not something they see every day. And they were teaching us how to sail out of a port. Opportunities like that are rare, but they're incredible. And I honestly, when these things were happening, I never thought that I might actually have an opportunity to thank some of the people who made this happen, and I'm sure some of you are actually in the audience tonight, so thank you. It's been incredible. And both myself and a lot of my underclass really appreciate it more than you can know. So, thank you.
Good evening. I'm Paul Storff from the class of 1989.
We're out.
What about 89? I think there's a perception amongst most of society about what a cyber degree looks like or should look like. I'm proud that the Naval Academy, our program, is well-rounded, interdisciplinary, multifaceted, with a solid foundation technology of what we think should be cyber and we believe is cyber. It contains programming, computer architecture, data structures, networks, mobile computing, information assurance, cryptography, forensics, but we also dedicate time to study policy, law, ethics, and the human factors of cyber, quite important in this day and age. The midshipmen choose a cyber operations major, and there are now 250 of them in the brigade, which ranks as the fourth most popular major in the brigade. And a significant number of them are women, 31% to be exact. Including our next speaker, Midshipman Sydney Frankenberg of the class of 2019. Welcome, Sydney.
Thank you, Captain Tortora. Today, I'm learning how to protect our country from those who wish to do us harm through their keyboards. The Naval Academy is full of tenacious, hardworking students who are dedicated to serving their countries. Every day, I feel the pressure to prove I belong here, and that only motivates me to work harder. Training midshipmen to wage digital warfare is not what the Naval Academy founders had in mind in 1845, if they even could have imagined what the internet would become. In the fall of 2017, I spent a semester studying abroad in Seoul, South Korea. In the middle picture, or on the left picture here, you can see a picture of me and some friends at the DMZ. In South Korea, I was the only foreign woman in my data structures and computer science courses. It occurred to me then that while technological innovations can sweep quickly through a country, letting go of xenophobia and misogyny can take much longer. I came home to the United States with a renewed understanding of the importance of showing kindness and compassion to outsiders. My experiences in South Korea helped me to found the Women in Cybersecurity and Computing Club at the Naval Academy. We were told we would have no interest, that our demographic was too small. 1 year later, we have over 200 people on our emailing list. And we are part of a much larger movement. Recently, I joined 21,000 other people who happen to be both women and technically minded at the Grace Hopper Women in Computer Science celebration in Houston, Texas. It's the largest gathering of women technologists in the world. Navy Rear Admiral Grace Hopper, the conference's namesake, believed women needed to be at the table, developing the technology that would affect us all. I am so proud to be able to follow in her footsteps in some small way, and I'm even prouder to think that future Naval Academy cyber majors will study in a building named in her honor. This semester, I am being trained by two cyberspace legends, Mr. Rick Leggett and Mr. Chris Inglis, both former deputy directors of the National Security Agency. These men leverage real-world experiences in the classroom with stories, only unclassified ones of course, that are nothing short of jaw-dropping. The support I have received from them and other Naval Academy faculty has been inspiring, and I am so grateful for the role they have played in shaping me into the scholar and leader that I am today. I am so grateful for their support and for yours as well. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Eric Grubman of the class of 1980. Now, tonight, we're in the cone of silence, so I'm going to tell you a few secrets about Navy and midshipmen. We are not Ohio State. We are not Alabama. We are not Stanford. I could go on. And with rare exceptions, our athletes are not going pro in any sport. They are going pro in leadership. And you're seeing that emerge right before your eyes, time after time, with people that you know and the midshipmen that are coming up on stage. That is why Navy athletics, no matter the team, no matter the level of competition, merit my investment, merit Betsy's investment, and merit your investment. And all those qualities and all that focus are on display when you visit with midshipmen leaders. Therefore, it is my privilege to introduce and to ask you to welcome someone who represents that. A standout Navy lacrosse player and brigade commander, Midshipman Ian Burgoyne of the class of 2019.
Thank you, Mr. Grubman. I appreciate that. I've been playing lacrosse since I was a little kid, and it's had a tremendous impact on my life, especially here at the Naval Academy. Time on the field has taught me key virtues like self-sacrifice, teamwork, determination, and being comfortable with failure. And there's definitely been a lot of failure. I don't think athletes totally realize the key skills we're developing in the heat of competition. Skills like grace under pressure, decisiveness, and clear communication. But there is one virtue that I think the Naval Academy teaches better than any other civilian college or any other institution. And it's a virtue that isn't often practiced by our counterparts in the civilian world or professional athletes either. And that virtue is humility. Humility is tough to talk about too, because the second you start proclaiming how humble you are, you've just demonstrated the lack thereof. So I promise I won't do that tonight. But I will share a story. 4 long years ago, when I was an impressionable 18-year-old, I woke up to my alarm at 04:45 to catch my 05:30 morning lift. But this was no ordinary Friday morning. The night before had been service assignment, and I was stoked to see the seniors on my team who had just received their new careers. I jumped out of bed, pulled my shoes on, and burst into the seniors in my company's room to wake them up. My boyish grin and jubilant energy was met with bleary eyes and less lackluster, enthusiastic greetings. They had celebrated the night before, rightly so, into the wee hours of the morning, and it was still the wee hours of the morning. Yet my energy didn't fade. I was so excited to see the other seniors as well as they moved around as we got to the weight room. And slowly we dragged our feet to the weight room, where I was shocked to see our senior captain, Pat Keena, standing by the door, taking roll. And maybe I shouldn't have been shocked. He was the team captain, it's what he did for every single morning lift. But the night before, he had just received the service assignment to the Naval Special Warfare Community. He was on his way to becoming a Navy SEAL. And there he stood, by the door, hands steady, eyes focused, greeting everybody with a little smile or a joke. And in that moment, I don't think I realized it at the time, but on reflection now I do, he displayed true humility. For not a single second did he think that he deserved something more. No bragging, no signs of overindulgence. Just happy to be with his teammates and dedicated and devoted to the program. It's examples like that athletics has put me in touch with. And all our athletes around the yard, be it lacrosse players, football players, whoever they are seeing examples like that day in and day out. Now as brigade commander, I think back to those examples when I was a plebe that maybe have gone over my head, and I hope that maybe one day I can have the same impact on my fellow classmates and fellow teammates. Thank you so much for your support tonight. Thank you so much for your support of Naval Academy Athletics and for my brothers and sisters in the brigade and midshipmen. Thank you very much.